there's one line open. The lines are pretty full, but if we don't get to this, we never will. Joelle Friday. Did you catch Joelle Friday TV's segment from 2 days ago called "The Route Less"? Wait, the narrow route. The route is narrow. Episode 84 of Joelle Friday TV. Story of an immodest neighbor gal. Did you catch that, Crishaun, that on?
I caught most of it. Yeah,
Okay.
Right on.
Nice.
definitely.
So what happened was Joelle Friday TV hosts a show Monday through Thursday right after Hake at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 1 Central, 2 Eastern. And Joelle Friday TV on YouTube and IG. And he told this story about how he used to work out in the mornings. Now he has to come to Bond in the mornings and help out on the JLP radio network. But he said that he would run and then he would walk at the end. And he would see this girl on this route. And you can jump in and correct me if I'm getting this wrong, but I want to just summarize it briefly.
Yeah.
He'd see this young woman on this route, and they would smile at each other, say hi. He said hi to her one time. He wasn't at an angle necessarily to like try to get with her. And then all of a sudden, she starts dressing all nice, and then immodestly, like dressing all tight clothes, showing everything. And he just said hi, just kind of ignored it. And then she stops, and they stop and talk. And she says, "What's your name? Oh, what's your name? Oh, well, nice to meet you. Have a good one." And after that, she started ignoring him and like avoiding him and changing up her whole route. Stop doing her hill repeats or stuff like that. And what Joelle Friday seems to believe happened, I think he said it, is that she was trying to get with him. She was trying to hook him. And when he didn't get hooked and saw her immodesty, he's like, this is not the type of woman I want to be with. But he didn't say anything, and he just watched her embarrass herself.
Yeah, her ego went crazy. That's what happened. It's like when I didn't give in to. So for one, just one detail that you laid it out perfectly. I don't know how you remember that.
Yeah.
You remember it better than I remember it.
That's funny.
But one detail is that the last time before we like got each other's names,
Yeah.
I was walking on one side of the street and she was wearing the leotard so tight. I ain't never seen a leotard so tight in my life. You see everything. And she walked on my side of the street purposely so we could stop and talk. And we stopped and talked.
That's funny.
And I just got her name. We exchanged names, and then I kept walking, kept moving.
Yeah.
But from there is her ego just went crazy. She couldn't handle it, and she changed her route. She wouldn't even look at me the same, and so on and so forth. So,
Wow. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, I think that's part of the woman's game. She's still trying to attract you. She just is playing hard to get now. Like I think you're right that the modest thing where she started dressing more, let's just say the word slutty.
Right. Yeah.
She realized that didn't work, and women, like if their sexuality doesn't work, they don't really have anything beyond that.
Right.
They don't know how to like kind of hook you beyond that.
Right.
They're not really funny. They're not really interesting.
Right.
They're not fun to talk to.
And she felt, but I assume this. I assume she felt embarrassed at that point. And not that I even purposely tried to embarrass her or nothing, but she had went out her way to make this impression, and I could just see what she was trying to do. It was so obvious what she was trying to do, and when it didn't, and this happens all the time. I've been in these different situations. Is that when you don't give into it, they feel silly. Because they know what they're doing is crazy, but they know it works. Yeah. Until somebody doesn't give into it, and then they realize, like, wow, that's insane what I just did. And they feel silly and look silly, and now they got to hide.
So you acted the same with her throughout the whole time. You were just friendly saying hi.
Right. Friendly saying hi.
And you never stopped that. You never changed.
No, and the thing is that I kept saying, this went on for, like, months. Just hi. Because I'm not trying to force it, right? But she was like, I got to make a move because she wanted something to happen. Yeah. So I assume, because I just know how the mind works in that way, is that, okay, it's like, okay, well, I'm interested. let's try to make something happen. And that's what she tried to do. And the reason why I know that is because her whole outfit changed. And mind you, she looked good. But she went overboard with trying to hook me.
Yeah.
And it's so evil, but yeah, she was smiling like it was nice.
Right.
And that's what turned me off, really, to be honest. And then she knew that was happening, but that's why she felt that way.
Joel,
she knew what was happening.
Was there ever...
Like, she knew that she was trying to hook me.
Right.
And when it didn't work, she felt crazy.
Okay.
About it.
All right.
Yeah.
Joel, was there ever a point where you were, like, attracted to her or interested?
Well, so when I was friendly, I was friendly, but it was not like purely friendly, right? Like, it was like, I would say hi, but it was
somewhat
right.
impure.
Like, well, in a
By
sense
purely
of like,
friendly, you mean it was also like interested,
innocently flirty.
He leaned up against your
Okay.
Innocently flirty. So
innocently flirty. Okay, nice.
But what I mean by is what I'm trying to say is that, like, I would say hi, but I would just be friendlier than I would be to the grandma.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what
Okay.
I mean? Like, I'm going to say hi, but I'm saying hi, how are you?
Right.
As we're passing.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, just smiling. Right? So there was just a little bit more there.
Right. Because she's a pretty girl.
Right.
Pretty girl.
But and also because I noticed that she is looking at me and I'm looking at her, so there's this weird type of energy anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm doing it like that, but I'm not trying to rush anything or anything. But for her, it was like, and people think this, it's like, well, we'll win then. That's the vibe I was getting. We'll win.
When are we gonna?
Right. We're just, are we gonna keep
talk?
saying hi to each other? And that's what it started to feel like as we're passing each other, because it started to get awkward now. Because it was like, okay, are we just gonna say hi every day?
Right.
But I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
So that's what.
Interesting.
That's how. Yeah. That's how that turned out.
Did you?
Well, there is a thing where I think like, I try not to like villainize it too much. Yeah, I get you. Like they're trying to sexually tempt you, but I think there is a natural thing in that where, like, obviously we are sort of programmed to, procreate. And I think there is a thing into that of, like, women are always waiting for us to make the first move.
Right.
So it's her alternative to making the first move on you is, let me throw you a little,
and I would have been
give you a little tease.
Right. And I would have been okay with it. And that's a great point. And I made that on the show as well. I would have been okay with that if she came at it properly. As a matter of fact, I appreciate that more when the girl is willing to let her ego down and just say, like, I'm interested. Let me just, like, make it obvious. I like that. I appreciate that. But not in the way of, let me seduce you type of thing. Let me, you know what I mean? Now, let me wear this leotard that shows everything.
So let me ask, did it occur to you to say, oh, hey, you changed up your outfit or anything like that?
No, it didn't occur to me.
It never occurred to you to say anything?
No, that's interesting, though. Maybe next time.
But Joel,
to me, go ahead. I'm
just real quick. That's interesting that Hake said that, because I do think there is a level of where women do need our guidance. So, it could be somebody who's a good, well, let me not use the word good, but a decent woman that you could maybe have a future with, that if you were to acknowledge, like, hey, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, kind of.
Right.
Well, hers, that's a good point. And I think that it's necessary that there's times to do that. But hers was so obvious that it was like not needed.
No. I totally disagree with you.
Fair enough. Why?
Well, because this stating the obvious, JLP states the obvious.
Yeah.
And the obvious isn't always obvious to the person who's committing the blatant act.
It could be true.
So,
it could be true, but I just feel like
you might have. I mean, it didn't occur to you,
possibly.
Instead of judging her, that's not a woman I want to be with. You could have guided her. Hey, you don't have to do that.
That's true.
Yeah,
maybe I could have said it. Yeah, that's
teach
true.
you how to be.
It could be true
Because a lot of these gals are.
Yeah.
They don't know the whole. We're surrounded by a world of people of ladies who dress very unladylike. They think that it's normal to dress like sluts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had like, anytime I've dated a woman that I didn't like how she dressed, I told her, like, if we're gonna be together, you can't dress like that.
Well,
like,
that's
just
definitely
my
conversations that has been had in the past of other relationships which didn't work out because of the fact I spoke up.
Oh yeah.
In that way.
Nice.
But in this certain situation, I just feel, And maybe there was maybe I could have, but I didn't know like her and like for me
You've never said anything other than hi.
Meaning like I was just gonna go back to what our normal thing was every day.
Right.
My whole thing is this, Crishaun and James, is that I like things that just happen as they happen. I don't want nobody's pressure. I don't want nobody to feel my pressure.
Yeah.
Like if we talk, we talk. At that moment when we were talking, there was no other words that were coming from my mouth,
right,
other than like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Because then at that point, then I'm about to lie to you. Well, you look
right.
pretty, or you look right. Maybe there was a moment in there. Now I'll think about it next time. Maybe there's a moment in there to be like, why you? But I feel like that also could have been. I don't know. Maybe.
No,
I have to think about it. I gotta think about it.
I'm just kidding around.
Let a soul go, Joel.
Lisa in the Facebook crew says, by the way, Happy Women's Month on National Women's Day. Fist emoji. And she says, drink every time Joel says like. Oh, darn. I didn't even catch on that he was saying like.
That's not good.
Now we're all going to pay attention to it, Joel.
That's not good.
Boom. Shout out to Lisa, our resident
We all have
expert.
our crutches.
I wonder if what Lisa thought about bringing the $400 or $1,000 insulin down to $35. But anyway, yeah, I was curious about that. That was basically the point of my bringing up that story, because I was like, I wonder if, because Joel, it seemed like he was judging. You seemed like you were judging that gal.
In like what way though? Which way?
That's not the type of woman I would want to be with, because she was dressing so obviously.
Judging is fine, but you didn't. I don't think. I think sometimes you have to see potential. I think that's the difference between a lot of men.
I had to think about what you guys are saying. I'm really gonna think about it. My logic that I believe it was done in the moment was that I noticed that she was trying to hook me.
Right.
And when I ignored it, she went crazy. Like her ego went crazy.
Yeah.
And I kind of like, good.
Did you watch yourself how you were thinking about her going crazy?
I didn't care much because I wasn't really into her that much like that, because I had noticed previously before that her thing was changing.
Yeah.
Like, and like that she was, and to me, like, to me, those are red flags.
Yeah, when you change like
that. Yeah, because every time I've dealt with that type of that type of lady who is like blatantly.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes, obviously, our culture has created, like, a woman's going to show a little bit, right? And she may not be like a crazy person.
Right.
But a lot of the time, these women are very angry, very like disturbed. Mm-hmm. And if you say one wrong thing to them, they're going to go crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't say not one wrong thing to her, and she already went crazy.
Right, yeah.
So I dodged a bullet there.
Right, could be.
But I could have, in that moment, maybe, I have to think about it. Maybe you guys are right. I could have said, like, like, why you, like, corrected it.
Yeah.
Maybe. That could be true.
Women like, they find ways to, like, attract men without saying it. That's their whole game.
Yeah.
So I think she tried something on you that worked with other men before.
Yeah, for sure.
And then when she realized, oh, this isn't always work. Sometimes they take it even as like, am I losing my beauty? Like, it really hits them in the ego. You're right.
But
you're right.
That's another point too, is that, like, I even watched it after that. I'm like, okay, well, let's just see how she comes about it now. Like, if she's really interested, then she'll say, like, oh, he's not about that life.
Right.
He's more of a modest guy. Let me, like, change up and come correct.
Yeah.
She didn't come correct. She changed her route.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, well, thank you for
stayed the same, and she was a busy bee.
Yeah, like, thank you for allowing me to see that I'm okay off of you. But
interesting. Yeah.
One more question, Joel.
Yeah.
Because you said you saw her, so like that, she changed.
I
her
still
route.
see her. Yeah.
Okay. Did she change?
You
back
still
to how
exercising
she
in the mornings?
Before Bond.
Okay, before you started working at Bond.
Did she change back to her normal way of clothing, the non-slutty way, since it stopped working with you?
That's a good question. As a matter of fact, I think one time, she went back to she was still the slutty version. But I will say is that it was winter time when I was walking, and she was wearing sweaters,
Right.
And then once it started to,
That's funny.
then she started wearing short things, and I used to say like, "You're not cold."
And then she used to be gave her hints.
No, like and she'd be like, no, like it's just, or like she would like make up something.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a mess.
All right. Lisa, our resident health expert, says insulin wouldn't be so much in demand if Americans stopped being so gluttonous in their appetites and eating processed junk. White thumbs up emoji. Thank you, Lisa.
But it is kind of unfortunate for people who are born that way. So I can understand that, guys. What's his name?
Jeff in Louisiana. Mumbles or Broomhauer.
Yeah, what's his real name?
Jeff in Louisiana.
Broomhauer is his real name. No, I'm playing.